April 9, 1865, a day etched forever in American history. General Robert E. Lee, once a proud emblem of the South, now faced inevitable defeat. Yet what if this surrender was more than a military setback? What if it embodied themes of dignity, respect, and compassion? Join us as we explore the hidden stories behind this pivotal moment in American history. These narratives reveal how pride, honor, and humanity converged on that historic day. Before we begin, please support our community by liking and subscribing to our channel. The march to Appomattox was driven by desperation and unyielding pursuit. The Civil War, lasting 4 brutal years, had left both North and South devastated. By April 1865, the Confederacy stood on the verge of collapse. The capture of Richmond on April 3rd was a decisive blow. As the Confederate capital, its fall marked the near end of Southern resistance. Lee's troops pulled back westward, struggling to elude the advancing forces under Grant. Conditions for Lee's men grew increasingly bleak. Exhausted, hungry, and low on morale, the soldiers bore the harsh winter and shrinking supplies. Those who once marched proudly now plodded forward with hollow eyes and empty stomachs. Despite urgent counsel from his generals, including James Longstreet, Lee held fast to the conviction that fighting on was both honorable and necessary. On April 7th, Grant sent Lee a heartfelt note urging him to accept the futility of further bloodshed. "It is my duty to relieve myself of the responsibility for more unnecessary loss of life," Grant wrote. This message revealed not only Grant's strategic thinking, but also his deep wish to bring an end to the war's endless suffering. Still, Lee remained firm, insisting he must hear Grant's terms before contemplating surrender. As the days wore on and Union forces closed in, Lee's closest officers grew increasingly anxious. They worried for Lee's health and the fate of their troops. Longstreet cautioned that continued resistance was pointless. "The beginning of the end is now near," he warned, urging surrender to spare their men. Yet Lee pressed forward, viewing surrender as a betrayal of the cause he had dedicated himself to, states' rights and Southern independence. At dawn on April 9th, both armies readied for battle. Lee's forces were shadows of their former strength. In a desperate last move, Lee ordered an assault on Grant's fortified positions at Appomattox Station. This choice proved catastrophic as Union cavalry under Philip Sheridan quickly severed Lee's escape routes and captured crucial supplies. Sheridan's forces were relentless and swift, capturing thousands of Confederate troops through constant skirmishes, effectively surrounding Lee's army with no escape. Amid the chaos of battle, Lee faced a wrenching choice: continue fighting hopelessly or negotiate surrender terms. The burden weighed heavily on him as he considered the future of his men and the South. With Grant's forces closing in at Appomattox Courthouse, victory was within reach. Grant later recalled in his memoirs that the Union troops advanced quickly and steadily, determined to end the long, bloody struggle. The historic meeting between Grant and Lee took place at Wilmer McLean's home in Appomattox Courthouse, now forever linked to the end of the Civil War. Upon entering the room, the striking contrast between the two generals was evident. Grant wore a mud-stained uniform, while Lee appeared dignified in his Confederate gray, sword finely crafted. This encounter was about more than military tactics. It was laden with emotion and history. Grant opened by recalling their previous meeting during the Mexican-American War, setting a tone of mutual respect despite their opposing roles. Once young officers crossing paths, they now stood facing each other in one of history's bloodiest conflicts. During the surrender talks, Grant showed unexpected kindness, allowing Confederate officers to keep their sidearms and horses. This gesture underscored Grant's belief that reconciliation required compassion rather than humiliation. He understood that many Confederate soldiers sought only to return home after years of fighting for their convictions. As Lee left McLean's house after signing the surrender, he paused on the porch, gazing toward the defeated army. It was a moment heavy with responsibility and grief, as a leader confronted his losses and duty to his men. Witnesses described a solemn scene, with Union officers showing respect as Lee rode away to relay the surrender news. The emotional impact of this surrender went beyond military defeat, resonating in both armies. Soldiers on both sides wept and cheered, acknowledging their shared sacrifices over 4 brutal years of war. Lee's departure marked not just a physical exit, but also the end of a way of life central to his identity. As he rode from Appomattox Courthouse, many mourned the loss of not only their cause, but also the leader who had led them through countless battles. Lee's surrender did more than cease hostilities. It set a tone for healing a fractured nation. Though widely seen as the Civil War's conclusion, this moment is complex, reflecting the personal struggles of leaders like Lee, who faced overwhelming odds and painful decisions driven by honor. History often overlooks these human elements, the emotional turmoil felt by leaders and soldiers during this turning point in America's past. The legacy of Appomattox reminds us that even in defeat, there is room for understanding and recovery. Following Lee's surrender, emotions surged across North and South. Southerners who had fought under Lee felt both despair and relief that the fighting stopped, despair about the uncertain future of a divided nation. In Washington, President Abraham Lincoln viewed this as an opportunity for reconciliation rather than punishment. He famously urged malice toward none, hoping to guide the nation toward healing. Yet not all shared this vision. Some in Congress called for strict penalties on former Confederates, while others advocated leniency, reflecting varied opinions on reunification. As Reconstruction began, difficult questions arose about integrating freed slaves into society and addressing Southern whites' grievances after losing their way of life. What is often missing from history books is how deeply personal this surrender was for both generals. For Lee, it was not just military defeat, but profound personal failure. A man who devoted his life to a cause now faced overwhelming defeat. His pride made accepting surrender especially hard, influenced by a deeply ingrained sense of honor tied to Southern identity. Conversely, Grant approached the moment with pragmatism, forged by years of shared hardship on the battlefield. He understood the suffering and futility of prolonged conflict. The meeting at McLean's home symbolized not only an end, but a powerful image of two foes finding common ground amidst deeply rooted ideological differences. Later reflections by both generals recalled their stark physical contrast, one sharp and neat, the other travel-worn, but mutual respect forged through battles prevailed. This contrast highlighted their personal journeys and served as a reminder of humanity amidst war, showing how adversaries can unite in difficult choices affecting countless lives. As the echoes of gunfire faded on that day, Lee's surrender reverberated through generations. It was not just a military loss, but a profound moment of national reckoning. General Lee, once a symbol of Southern pride, became a testament to the complex interplay of honor and sacrifice. The true legacy of Appomattox lies not only in history, but in the enduring questions it raises. What does it mean to surrender with honor? How do we reconcile our past with the future? Thanks for watching and daring to dig beneath the surface of history with me. If this story made you question what you thought you knew, don't forget to smash that like button, share with friends who crave the truth, and hit subscribe for more eye-opening stories just like this. The real history isn't about legends, it's about raw realities, silenced voices, and hidden truths. Let's keep uncovering the past together, one untold story at a time. Until next time, Remember, the dead don't deceive, and neither will we.